One of the best games in college football, arguably the most underrated game, is Fresno State and Wyoming, two Mountain West schools in a conference that is one of the best in college football. Now, people probably don't pay attention to them because they don't pay attention to the Group of Five or the Mountain West. Right now, with the Pac-12 being so good, that doesn't help either. But this is a game definitely worth watching. It's already been flexed into the primetime slot. It's already been put on Fox. So you know that people will be paying attention to it, and for good reason. When you look at what the Bulldogs and Cowboys can do, these are two conflicting styles, and it'll be really fun to see which side prevails. Fresno State is playing with a ton of confidence right now. I think that this group has played really well together as a unit, and it's not necessarily that they're relying on one side of the ball to dominate while the other one struggles. I think there's been moments where offense throws a pick here, the defense picks them up, or the defense gives up a touchdown, the offense responds. I think that this group has played really well as a whole, and that's really helped them in their success. When you're looking at a group of five team and that special little ingredient that the it factor, it feels like Fresno State has it. And right now they're playing at a really high level, and it's a big reason why they're 5-0. Jeff Tedford has done a great job of getting them to play how he wants them to. And so far, you have two Power Five wins under your belt. And now you're looking to beat a Wyoming team that gave Texas more of a scare than the score indicates. And it's a very good defense that can really make things difficult for Fresno State's offense. I think being able to move the ball efficiently through the air is where Fresno State will look. And it'll be fun to see what this offense can do against a good defense. This is the first good defense that they'll face this year. So how they perform could determine how good of a year they'll actually have. We talked about the secondary coming into this year. Carlton Johnson was a name that we said to keep an eye on, but we didn't necessarily expect this. Already four interceptions on the year, and this defense is playing really well too. Not only is the offense getting a lot of attention, thanks to a guy like Mikey Keene, who has been a great addition from the transfer portal via UCF, but you're looking at a defense that continues to play at a high level despite some of the losses they sustained. There's plenty of veteran experience that is no longer on this roster, but it doesn't seem to matter. Tedford and his staff have done a great job of getting them to play at a high level, and they have done a great job of transitioning and reloading to help the next year's team get even better. So that's definitely something that will help them. And it's a big reason why Fresno State is so far undefeated. Wyoming's an interesting story because when you look at what this team is capable of doing, you have a group that relies on good defense to be able to keep teams in check and tries to play efficient offense. Running the football obviously is a staple in Craig Bull's offenses. You look at his time at NDSU and now at Wyoming, he wants to run the football and supplement it with the pass, play action, all that kind of stuff. It just comes down to what the quarterback can do. And Harrison Whaley's having a good year at running back with 457 yards and three touchdowns, another transfer that is making an impact on his new team. But Andrew Peasley, if he is healthy enough to play this entire game, will play a big role once again. And that is not anything different than we expected from the beginning of the year. We knew that he was going to be a player that would have a huge impact on this team. And right now, we're still waiting for him to show what he can do. So when you're looking at this Wyoming team, we know the defense will play its role. And right now, it's maybe not playing as good as it could, but you're still looking at plenty of talent. Easton Gibbs is an absolute stud. Devon Harris is having a big year as well. There's so many players that you could go out in this front seven or the front six, I should say. And the secondary is being really disruptive. They have 10.2% havoc rate, which is really good for a group that I think everyone thought would be the X factor of this defense. And so far, they are proving to be a strength as well. So this defense has plenty of talent on all three levels. And now you face a Fresno State team that brings plenty of talent, plenty of explosiveness that will test you every single play. Matchups to watch are almost endless in this game because you essentially could just pick everybody from Fresno State's offense and find their matchup on defense. Jalen Gill should be the X factor here. I think everybody knows Eric Brooks and what he's capable of doing, but Brooks is primarily going to work out of the slot. So whoever plays nickel for Wyoming has their hands full. But I think Jalen Gill is the X factor, someone who everybody's not really paying attention to, but he is definitely someone that can take on a bigger role in this game because Wyoming is going to try to take away somebody. And if you're going to take someone away, it's easy to see who you're going to try. Gill could be that guy that goes against a talented player in Rook Brown who's having a good year as well. So whoever wins that matchup could play a big role. Keeping Mikey Keene upright is a big key for them as well. But guys like Devon Harris are going to give them plenty of trouble. The interior defensive line for Wyoming is loaded as well. So it's not like it's an easy task. So guys like Jacob Swomer have their hands full. And the secondary, like I said, for Wyoming has stepped up in a big way. And Wyatt Eckler is having a good year. What Mikey Key can do to affect him and influence him in certain ways, using his eyes, not turning the ball over, because Eckler's doing a great job of doing that. If Keen can find ways to keep him away from the football, then Fresno State's in business. But if Wyoming continues doing what it's doing, they're going to get the ball back to their offense. It's not that they're going to run away with this unless their defense refuses to give up any points. It's that Wyoming can steal this one by finding ways to create turnovers here and there. Now, Fresno State's defense also has to play a role in this because I don't want to say the passing attack is good for Wyoming because I don't think it is, but the potential to be good is there. And it's weird to say when you look at the offensive line for Wyoming, I think that's a given. The offensive line versus the front seven for Fresno State, you look at what Wyoming is trying to do, they want to run the football. So we know the trenches will be a big key. But guys like Malachi Langley not only have to cover their roles in terms of run stopping, but play action is really where Wyoming can do some damage. And if Langley is selling out, or anybody at the linebacker position, if they're selling out to stop the run and play action hits them, Wyoming is going to hit some big plays and they are going to carve up this defense. So finding ways to be disciplined will be huge for them as well. And a guy like Langley will play a big role in that. Keys of the game. Fresno State has to essentially dictate the pace by moving the ball down the field through the air. That's something they've been doing all year, and it shouldn't be a surprise to see them do it again. Pass protection will also be a key. This Wyoming front six, because they run a unique defense, will be a big key because if you can't keep Mikey Keene upright, you're going to struggle. You will not move the ball as efficiently as you want to, and that won't help your offense, an offense that is looking to score points at a blistering pace that Wyoming definitely cannot keep up with. Stopping the run, obviously, is a big key. If you stop the run against Wyoming, you essentially have taken away their entire offense because their passing attack isn't something that scares anybody. But if you can't stop the run, that's when that passing attack finds new life. And right now, we're waiting for Andrew Peasley in that passing attack to show that they're a better unit as a standalone unit. But right now, we're waiting for that. And if Fresno State can stop the run, they switch the momentum heavily in their favor pretty quick. Wyoming, you have to limit the big plays because Fresno State has had a big play after big play in every single game. And so far, that is what does the most damage to the opposition. If you limit those big plays and don't let them open up the field, you are in good hands. It's going to be a battle, and you have to dictate the pace. Right now, a slow pace and efficient pace is what Wyoming wants. And if they can't do that, Fresno State will run away with this one. And you essentially can't let the pace get out of hand. You can't let Fresno State just start making this track meet. Fresno State is built to be a track team, and Wyoming's more of the shot putters and the discus. You're looking at the throwers. You're not necessarily ready for a sprint. You are ready to win with strength and power, and that is the game that Wyoming wants to play. Taking care of the football will play a big role in that too. If you're giving the ball back to Fresno State, you are asking for a loss. You are asking for trouble, and Fresno State will take advantage because this defense for Wyoming is good, but they will be tested. They will be worn out. And if you're giving them more opportunities to go back on the field without much rest, they will get tired and eventually Fresno State will take advantage. And as we talked about already, the quarterbacks play a huge role. Mikey Keene has been an absolute phenomenal addition for Fresno State or for really any team. I think that his first performance against Purdue, 366 yards and 4 touchdowns, was insane for someone who's coming into a new system. But like I said, when he was at UCF, I didn't think that he was a good fit at UCF with Gus Malzahn's system. I think that he was going to be in a different system that would benefit him more. And Jeff Tedford's system proves to be the best fit for him. He is great on the run. So even if Wyoming creates pressure, watch for Mikey Keene to work outside of the tackles. He is very good at throwing on the run. He is probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country at doing that. And so far, he's proven to be an asset in that department as well. Andrew Peasley, we've talked about already. His numbers are not impressive. They're not going to be. He's not going to be an air raid player. He's not going to compete with a guy like Mikey Keene in terms of statistics. But his ability to put up big numbers in the yards per pass, the passing attack, the play action, that's where he does the most damage. So to me, if they can run the football well, then that allows Peasley to get some wide open looks and make some big plays with his arm. Again, he is not going to be a major impact player with his arm because they're not going to throw a ton, but he can be efficient and still do plenty of damage. Running the football will be another thing that he does well. Now, keeping him healthy is a big question. So maybe they're not going to run him as much, but he is a good runner as well. That is something to keep an eye on in this game. When you're picking this game, it all comes down to pace. If Fresno State takes care of the ball, it doesn't matter what the pace is, they will win the game. They're too talented offensively and they are good enough defensively to win the line of scrimmage and not run away with this game, but win this game comfortably. If Wyoming starts giving them extra chances, this game goes heavily in Fresno State's favor. So it's all about pace. And I still think it doesn't matter what the pace is. I think Fresno State wins as long as they're taking care of the football and as long as they're okay finding ways to be efficient. As long as Wyoming is continuing to slow things down and can't compete up with their offense, with Fresno State's offense, the Bulldogs win this game. I don't really see a way in which Wyoming wins unless Fresno State is careless with the football. If they are, then it'll be interesting. But Wyoming is a good enough team to pull off the upset. But right now, Fresno State is playing at a high level, and I just don't think Wyoming has the firepower to keep up.